I heard somewhere along the grapevine that Marathon is being delayed indefinitely. Didn't see that coming. Who could have seen that coming?
Well, my friends, I promise I'm not turning into a gaming news channel, but quite possibly the least surprising and frankly most needed news of all time just broke. Bungie listened to us. They listened to...
No, they didn't. No, they had to do this. If they really would have listened, they just wouldn't have made this game.
All the players, they listened to the wealth of feedback online, and incredibly unsurprisingly, have delayed Marathon and have revealed a bunch of details about
It's not that big a surprise.
what they're doing for the game in the future. So they've just released a big blog post, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, but they do say that through every comment and real-time conversation on social media and Discord, our voice has been strong and clear.
No, they're still... Are they going to still release this game, or are they just done with it? If they're done with it, then yeah. If they're just delaying it for just a little while, then they missed the mark. They missed the point.
We've taken this to heart, and we know that we need more time to craft Marathon into the game that truly reflects your passion.
Which would be just like a Halo game, actually. It just compete with Halo. We'll be fine. Otherwise, I think whatever game that you come up with is fucked.
And they've delayed it from September 23rd, which was always an insane release date. When they showed us that at the studio, I remember thinking like, shit, really? That's like really soon. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. Now, one interesting detail that they don't actually say in this, it's more of a detail by omission, is the fact that at no point during this article do they give a release date. In fact, they don't even give a release window at all, not even a rough one. They say,
yeah, it's going on indefinite hiatus, but it's probably going to release sometime. Maybe they'll shadow drop it, that'd be cool. And then it'd just fail that way.
That over the next few months, they're going to be continuing closed testing, including people that play the alpha, and they're going to have more to share in the fall, but they don't give a specific release date, which makes me think that it might be having longer than just like a 3 or 4 month delay.
Damn, this is going to cost so much money. This might be one of the most expensive games of all time. Because if it already was costing them like $300-400 million, and then they're delaying it and they're still going to work on it, this could be like a $600 million failure. This could be astronomically bad. This could be worse than Concord.
I've got a feeling this game isn't coming out, at least in the short-term future, which is interesting because the other day, Sony published some, like, investors call thing, I think it was, and even as of, like, 5 days ago, they seemed pretty adamant that Marathon was still releasing in their fiscal year 2025.
I bet something really bad happened, or they had a sudden realization, and it happened within the past few days, and they were like, well, shit. It can't come out now.
Which is basically April 25 to March 2026. So I think not having a release date doesn't really line up with that. No release date to me implies that it's at least another year away, if not more, which, if you ask me, and probably every other person on the internet, and probably a lot of people who don't even have the internet, they'd say that it needs that at the very least, if not more.
Yeah, I think they need to cut it now. They just need to stop it, because if they spend any more money on this and it still fails, I couldn't even tell you how bad that is. But you know what? I'm kind of here for it. They deserve it, really, they do. This is what they get for being just greedy scumbags ever since they left Microsoft.
So let's take a look at the stuff they're going to be doing with the delay. Okay, I just finished recording the main video and a little bit more news just dropped, so I don't know where in this video this is going to be. It might be right in the middle, might be the end, whatever. Paul Tassi has just revealed, if you don't know, a very notable kind of Destiny/Bungie insider, writes for Forbes. He's just revealed that apparently most of Bungie found out about Marathon's delay right now, which does not bode well for the state of management and the state of the studio, which was already on thin ice, to put it lightly. They didn't know about it until now, which is... oh man.
Yeah, that sucks. To think that, wow, our game is about to come out soon, we can finally move on to something else. This has been a complete disaster. Oh, we're going to be working on it for 2 more years? Fuck.
Oh boy, that's not good. This is the kind of major information that you would expect the entire studio would be on the same page about, not finding out from Twitter or finding out via some internal email that gets sent around as it gets posted on Twitter. Okay, well, anyway, back to the video that I just recorded. So they start off by saying that they're going to be upping the survival game by creating more challenging and engaging AI encounters,
Okay, how are you gonna do that? Sure, you can say that.
which is great because the AI I thought were all right, but it was definitely nothing to call home about. This was definitely not AI as revolutionary as...
It's still gonna be the same game. It's still gonna be an extraction shooter. They're just gonna refine it, and yeah, this ain't gonna work. What the fuck are they thinking? They should have just cut tail and run. Just start working on something else, like a small game. Work on something small and charge $30 for it. And it not be like an online extraction shooter you're trying to shoot for trends. It's not gonna work, bro. You should have just made a small experience. That's what everybody's craving right now.
Like the Covenant in Halo 1, for example. They're going to be making more rewarding runs with new types of loot and dynamic events. Good, I guess. I'm not going to say no to that. They're going to be making combat more tense and strategic, which, yeah, great. But the stuff that is really going to appeal to me and to you is that they're doubling down on the Marathon universe. They're increasing visual fidelity, which, I mean, is a given. They're adding more narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with.
Sure, but is it going to be good? Or is it going to be good writing? Is it going to be ripped off? They're going to have to completely change everything. The art style going to be the same?
But most importantly, the bit that spoke to me the most here is that they're giving the game a darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy. They're also adding more social experiences, like a better experience for solo and duos, the latter, or the former rather, which this game really needs, and they're also actually adding proximity chat, which, again...
That's a really good decision, in my opinion. Probably the best decision that they've made about this game so far, besides delaying it. They really should just shut it down.
Again, this game was DOA without. But, right, let's go back to the darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy. The main thing that this game was missing was, of course, the 4. The compilers were in the game. We hadn't seen them yet, at least in the public alpha. We've seen them, but they've not been shown publicly yet in-game. They were in the game, but the 4 were nowhere to be seen, and Bungie were kind of weird when I asked them about where the 4 were, because I was told for quite a while that they were in dev, but I never saw them, I never got any tangible updates on them, we were just told that, and I think they also said something publicly on one of the streams recently about that.
I've been seeing a lot of games that look like Marathon and like Doom and all that, with these crazy retro graphics, but like upgraded to look amazing. And like more modern day, but still retro. And I think that they should have just went for a story retro looking Marathon game. And that would have been such a huge success in my opinion.
So my hope is that one of the things that ties into that darker theme is they introduce the 4 and pretty much all of the 4 types that we're used to seeing, in particular for Marathon 1. So the Hulks, the fighters, and everything else that we expect to see.
That would be crazy to get a Marathon game that was like Forgive Me, Father. If you don't know what that game is, check it out. And Forgive Me, Father 2. Amazing.
I also hope as well that they show more of the aftermath of the 4's attack on Tau Ceti, because they literally slaughtered an entire colony, and there are no I think there may have been 1 or 2 bodies in the maps in the alpha. There are barely any bodies anywhere, so that's something that really needs to be dialed up, because that entire colony is basically a graveyard, and it really doesn't seem like it in game at all. The really bright, punchy art style is kind of breaking that vibe, and I think they need to kind of dial that in more. Some of the areas that...
Yeah, a huge complaint that we've all been having is the colors. The colors are really punchy, and like everything is too AI generated looking, too smooth and blocky. And I think that's what they were going for, but it really doesn't go together. It doesn't fit. It looks weird. Make it darker. Yeah, darker tone, dirtier. Darker and dirtier. More alien. It kind of gives off Among Us vibes.
Didn't really line up with that, but that did feel more like the OG Marathon, with some of the tunnels in the ground that had a darker vibe that felt a lot tighter and a lot more kind of contrasty and more in line with the original Marathons, and hopefully they add more sections like that. That said though, I don't know if even with this delay, this game is really going to appeal to as many people as it probably needs to make the money that it needs to be successful, because
Yeah, like, even if it's technically a success compared to a lot of games, even if it becomes #1 for, like, the time period that it comes out, or the day that it comes out, or week that it comes out, it's still got to make... It's got to be a groundbreaking game. It's got to change the way we play extraction shooters. It's got to be, like, almost as big as Fortnite in order to make its money back. And it's just not going to be that.
At the end of the day, a lot of people want a single player experience for Marathon, even if they didn't play the originals. Like,
single player, co-op, doesn't matter. But yeah, they see gameplay of the old Marathon games and they're like, hey, why didn't you do that? We want a new Halo game from you guys. Not something that's like Destiny, not something that's like online. We want a single player co-op shooter in the style of Destiny or Marathon. What the fuck are you doing?
genuinely, I would hazard a guess that most of the people who are asking for a campaign or some kind of single-player PvE experience in Marathon probably haven't played the originals, but they know about the originals. They know about the magic of the original Marathon trilogy and how pioneering that trilogy was in terms of both storytelling, but also gameplay as well. Like, I've said this so much.
Yeah, it's the precursor to Halo. They pretty much took Marathon, ripped it off, and made Halo. They ripped off their own game and made one of the greatest trilogies of all time, plus Halo Reach and ODST.
Many times you can go back and play OG Marathon today, right? Today. And yeah, the first 3 levels will feel really clunky, really outdated, but as soon as it clicks, like 3 or 4 levels in, it clicks, and the gameplay is just incredible. The 4 are so satisfying to fight in that game still, in a solo campaign experience, and I really think that Bungie missed a beat by not including this game with some kind of Marathon spin-off game, that a single-player spin-off game. How they would go about doing that, where they'd set it, when they'd set it, I can't really put it into place right now off the top of my head, but there's definitely a way they could do it, right? The 4 definitely still exist. There's things they can do with them. There are ways that they could have obviously not had us play as the security officer, but we could have played as another battle droid or a marine or anything, any kind of soldier in the universe, right? They could have done something. They could have,
or even just remade them. They did like completely just like do a remake of the original, even like a remaster of the original. Just put a new coat of paint over it and cell shade it, make it look like Forgive Me Father 2.
Introduce something brand new. And that's not going to be added in this delay, unless by some crazy miracle Marathon gets like a...
Yeah, they said, oh, we hear you. We hear your voice. We're listening. But I've heard so many people say this, and I don't think they're going to do it.
4-year delay, or maybe not 4 years, but like a 2-year. If they gave it like a 2-year delay, maybe.
15-year delay. Let's just axe it.
But very evidently, it's not going to be getting a 2-year delay. I think my money would be on this game releasing next fall, which is going to be the GTA 6 window, which is quite worrisome. I think every game is going to be trying to avoid GTA 6.
No shot it's gonna come out around the time GTA 6. It's coming out sometime after GTA 6. Guaranteed. They're not gonna take any chances.
And so, if this launches even close to GTA 6, then it's gonna be a tough sell. I think it's already a tough sell, to be honest with you. And
I think beginning of summer 2027 sounds like a good time for it to release. And it's not probably gonna release then. It's probably gonna release in a really, really bad time, like competing with Call of Duty. It's going to be awful.
I think even with all these changes, which again are good, I still think that Bungie are facing a massive uphill battle with selling this game to people. I don't think it should be free to play. I've played more than enough Tarkov to see what happens to extraction shooters in terms of cheating, at least when they're paid for. The cheating problem in Tarkov is horrendous, and that game is expensive. This game is
No, I disagree. It should be free to play, but it also should not be an extraction shooter. It should be a different kind of game because it just doesn't make any sense.
Free to play, I don't care how good your anti-cheat is, it will be ruined by cheaters, straight up. And so, unfortunately, I think a barrier to entry for this game is a good thing for that. But at the same time, that's going to make the game an almost impossible sell to so many people, and that's probably not changing. As for the art style and...
Yeah, if there was a campaign and the extraction shooter stuff was like another part of the game, you know, then I could see people paying $40 for that. If there's no campaign, I don't see people paying for it. People will buy the campaign, just the campaign, and not even care about the extraction shooter. And you can make it quick. They'll pay $40 for a quick, like, 5-hour campaign if there's an extraction shooter attached to it. And they still probably won't even play the extraction shooter and only play the campaign. I know people who bought the newer Modern Warfare games, only played the campaign, didn't play online.
Changing and improving the visual fidelity. There's a few things there. Firstly, they are going to have so much work to do regarding the art theft situation and picking out all the pieces of art that were stolen, and not even picking it out. That's not going to be the hard part. The hard part is going to be finding all the stuff that was stolen, because, yeah, there's all the stuff that we know about that was stolen.
No, actually, the hardest part is them coming up with original ideas and having to put some kind of other art in its place. That's going to be the actual hard part, because they're not good at that. They're not good at original ideas.
But who's to say that's it? Who's to say there's not a load more somewhere else in the game, or another batch of assets that people haven't discovered yet that's stolen? Like, as soon as you find one part of it that's stolen, it kind of forces you to ask the question, like, what else is stolen? And it's kind of hard to figure out what is, because obviously assets for an unreleased game can't exactly be run through a reverse image searcher, like a public one, because those files would be stored somewhere. And
oh, and you know that people will be doing that. They definitely will be doing that.
And they probably leak in some capacity, right? So it's going to be really hard to do that. And the second issue with the visual fidelity is...
Would they remove all of the stolen art just to put more stolen art in there? No, they wouldn't do that. There's no way they'd do that.
Like, yeah, increasing the visual fidelity, great. The outdoor areas absolutely needed it. But at the same time, even though the art style... Well, it's hard to talk about the art style now, given that not all of it, definitely not all of it, but obviously there are significant elements of it that were stolen. But that art style isn't the most reminiscent of OG Marathon. There are areas where it is, but a lot of it's not. And
yeah, tone down the graphics, make it cell shaded. I think cell shading it would do it so many favors. Like, you could remove all of the art stuff, all of the decor, and cell shade it, and it'll already look 1,000 times better.
And increasing the visual fidelity, maybe if they do like another art pass in quite a few of the areas to make it look a lot grungier and I guess give it a darker tone, like they say.
Yeah, could...
Maybe if they do like another art pass in quite a few of the areas to make it look a lot grungier and...
Yeah, could you imagine this area being cell shaded? That'd be so cool. Look like Borderlands, the original Borderlands.
I guess give it a darker tone, like they say about the theme of the game in this blog post. Maybe then it'll fall more in line with the original Marathon trilogy, and it will kind of help to erase the Marathon in name only criticism, which I really kind of come to see over time. I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting future for this game. I think it's going to be very hard for Bungie to salvage this and make it something that flourishes.
It'd be so easy to release a co-op campaign. It'd be so easy. And you don't even have to roll it out all at once. You can make it part of the story to where, like Halo did. Remember when Halo 4, they had like story missions that would just come out sometimes? Was it Halo 4? I think it was.
I think it can be salvaged into something that does fine, but salvaging it and making it flourish like Destiny seems to have done, and obviously, like Halo did, is going to be very difficult. That is going to be very, very, very difficult. Not just because of the game itself, but also, even more so actually, because of the stigma surrounding this game. That is a stigma that is going to be very, very hard to shake. Very hard to shake. And I don't know if it ever will fully be shaken. to be honest with you, because people are always going to look at Marathon now, and they're going to see the game that was embroiled in an art thievery scandal. Or
Yep. It's going to be the game that had stolen art. They charged $40 for. They spent $300 million, $400 million, probably more than that now. Has all the storefront microtransaction, in-game currency, battle pass nonsense. I'm out completely on it. Just sounds no good to me. With no campaign, it's loosely based off of a great trilogy of games that came out that we want more of. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to do an online extraction shooter with a storefront so we can charge microtransactions. Fucking idiots.
the game that was piggybacking off a 30-year-old trilogy that looks and plays nothing like that trilogy. I think the best way forward for this game, honestly, would be to give it like a 2-year delay and create some kind of single-player experience, not a single-player thing where you play through the multiplayer map just on your own, like PvE Tarkov. I mean like an actual, like OG Marathon-styled single-player, player agency-driven story campaign kind of experience. I think that would be...
You could roll it out. It could be short, and you just roll out story missions like maybe once a month. You get a new campaign mission. That'd be so cool. And it doesn't even have to be in the Marathon game. It could be like this old school Marathon retro style. It'd be so easy to make. And you've got the IP. You could just, you know, slap the name on it. Just do some cool stuff. Remake the original ones. I don't know. But it's so easy to see what they could do, but they're not going to do it. Because they're fucking stupid.
A massive saving grace for this game, but at the end of the day, will Sony give Bungie the resources needed to do that? Probably not. I mean, Bungie are already
They could probably spend like $5 million to make a short marathon, OG marathon style game. It has like 5 missions, 8 missions, you know, campaign be just as long as one of the original Halo games, but in this old style. It'd be so easy to do.
The fire from Sony in a lot of regards due to Destiny DLCs missing revenue targets and all this stuff, and the studio not really having the output and the delivery that I think Sony thought they would have when they bought them. So who knows? As for my marathon content, obviously I will not be making any marathon content in September because the game's not releasing then. I'm still very much up in the air as to whether I actually want to make marathon content anymore.
Oh, I'm definitely going to make marathon content, and it's just going to be me shitting all over it the whole time.
I'm going to make probably videos on major things that like this that happen, like just very brief, lightly edited videos like this, but I'm still debating whether I actually want to go like full bore into marathon content now after kind of what's happened with the game in the recent months and the reception of it. I'm gonna have to wait and see how these changes go, because if they end up completely overhauling this game and making it essentially be Marathon 4, then like hell yeah, I'll be down. But
yeah, I don't see that happening though. I see them completely fumbling the bag. They didn't really have a bag anyway. Their bag is almost empty, left over from the Halo days.
I'll have to wait and see. Yeah, just another quick video that I thought I'd make about this. Sorry about the light editing. Got a major proper Halo video coming, I think Friday. It should be Friday, which should be a good one. So I'll see you then. Thank you for watching. Marathon is delayed. I think we all knew / hoped this would happen. So
Nah, I was really hoping that they'd go ahead and release it, so I can go ahead and cover that disaster as it was unfolding, and it happened soon. Damn, looks like we're gonna have to wait for the marathon disaster. So it's probably gonna be a while till we talk about this game again. Probably completely forget it happened. And then we'll be like, hey, remember Marathon? I don't. It's back.